Welcome to video guide number 6, adding coaches and team managers slash admins. In the last video, we added players to the club dashboard, so now let's add our coaches and admins as well. First, I want to go over the difference between the coach and team manager role. They are functionally the same in that they have the same permissions and requirements for carding. The only discernible difference is honestly that they have different titles on the team's printed roster. Team manager is the system's term for a team admin, if you hadn't assumed that already. So the process is the same for carding both coaches and team managers. The way you add coaches is almost identical to adding players. You can either import them or manually add them. It's up to you. Just like with players, the system will recognize if one of the individuals you're trying to import already has an account, and it will add that pre-existing profile to the dashboard. So as long as the email provided is the same one that was used to create the pre-existing GotSport profile, it will match that up. It'll miss it sometimes, but it's easy to get the pre-existing profile added if that does ever come up. Something to note is that I do not recommend assigning the coaches to a team via the import process, as I've had mixed results when doing so. Additionally, it doesn't really save you any time compared to rostering them later using Video Guide 7, so I suggest keeping it simple with the import. Since we just covered a similar process in the last video, I'm going to breeze through this a bit. We'll start off on the club dashboard here and click coaches under club management. Then select upload coaches at the top of the page. Just like players, this section provides an import template for you to make things easier, with the added bonus of only having 4 required columns for us to fill in: first name, last name, competitive level, and email. You can leave the rest blank and let the coaches fill in date of birth and such once they get logged in. My video guides for them will help them out there. Once you've got your import file ready and still saved as a CSV, head back to the upload page on GotSport. Select US Club from the affiliation dropdown. Leave the checkbox as is. Leave this dropdown as is. Leave team upload unchecked. And then find your import file. Click open selected file and make sure the columns are properly matched, which they will be since we used the template. Lastly, click import data and you're done. You'll get an email almost instantly letting you know the import is finished and to view your results. If there's a problem, it'll let you know which row caused the issue so you can easily determine who had the issue. But if everything went as expected, you can go view your newly imported coaches in the coaches tab under club management. Once they've been added in the system, they can set their password and get logged in right away. They have their own playlist of YouTube guides they can use to get that done. As I mentioned before, the process for adding team managers is the same as adding coaches, so you can carry that over one-to-one in the managers tab to import your team managers as well. With that being said, I'll show you how to manually add one manager slash coach at a time. So let's head over to the managers tab, click add manager, enter their email, first name and last name, then search. As I covered in a previous video, if there is a pre-existing profile, the system will bring up that profile and prompt you to request role approval via email. Otherwise, you will then be prompted to enter the rest of their info to create a profile. Leave the ID number at the top blank, select competitive under US Club for the affiliation, and you can leave everything else as is. You can set a password for them if you like, but they will likely change this right away after watching my first video guide for them to get logged in. Click Save at the bottom and you're all set. Lastly, let's go over what the requirements actually are for coaches and team managers. Primarily, it's a picture, safe sport, and a background check. There is a 4th requirement on the profile, but it is simply an acknowledgement form that takes 2 minutes. You can also check the status of these from both the coach and managers tabs. So let's go to the coaches tab here and select a coach. On the page that pops up, click requirements at the top, and we can now see the status of each requirement. Note that if it says not applicable under 23/24, then the member likely has a blank date of birth. And you can check the Club Admin Common Issues playlist for more info on this and other common problems I see folks run into. We are nearing the end of the main playlist, so in the next video we will be rostering our teams and purchasing memberships.